Guys got so quiet in here. I think we're ready to go if everybody got so silent in here. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today is Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, and this is the regular meeting for the Litchfield Elementary School District Governing Board. I hereby call this meeting to order. The first item will be the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could please stand and join us. Next, we're going to take a moment of silent reflection. I do ask that those that are joining us in this moment of silent reflection, please keep the Mabel families in your hearts. They lost a custodian recently that passed away, and so we want to just keep their families in our hearts and lift them up. And thank you. Next, we are going to move on to our recognitions and celebrations. This will be led by Executive Director Nuanas.
Good evening, Madam President, governing board members, fellow cabinet members, Superintendent Davidson, and our visitors, both in person and online. It is with great enthusiasm that we celebrate tonight Corte Sierra Elementary School for earning the distinguished designation of Model PLC at Work School, a national recognition that affirms the school's deep commitment to collaboration, continuous improvement, and most importantly, student success. The professional learning community at work process is proven, research-based approach that transforms schools into high-performing learning environments. Schools that earn the Model PLC status demonstrate exceptional dedication to the three big ideas that define the true PLC. A relentless focus on learning for all, a culture of collaborative teamwork, a commitment to using data to drive results and improvement. Corte Sierra, under the leadership of Principal Tanya Rodiger, has exemplified these principles by fostering a collaborative culture among educators, aligning instruction with meaningful data, and refining their practices to ensure that every student receives the timely, targeted support that they need to thrive and succeed. This achievement is more than just a recognition. It's also a reflection of the heart and hard work of Corte Sierra's leadership, teachers, staff, who have embraced and shared the mission to ensure high levels of learning for all of their students. Congratulations to Principal Rodiger, the dedicated educators at Corte Sierra Elementary, and the students and families who are part of this outstanding learning community. Your efforts uplift not only your school, but the entire Litchfield Elementary School District. Let's go. Picture time.
In particular way you want to go?
No, just standard. Big in the middle, short on the other side of my head. All right. All right, here we go. Right here, friends. Everybody smile, smile, and in 3, 2, 1. All right. How about another guy? All right. Continuing on with our next celebration. It is with great pride and excitement that this one's a good one for me as well, that we recognize Belen Soto Elementary School and Verado Middle School for earning the coveted A+ School of Excellence Award from the Arizona Educational Foundation. The A+ School of Excellence program has endured as a hallmark of educational distinction, celebrating the best of the best in Arizona public schools. This award is more than a symbol of academic success. It is a recognition of schools that go above and beyond every facet of education, cultivating safe, learner-focused environments, fostering innovative, teacher-led instruction, and demonstrating an unwavering commitment to every child's success. Under the leadership of Principal Courtney Frazier at Belen Soto Elementary and Anthony Paduano at Verado Middle, these two schools that earned this prestigious designation are shining examples of quality and opportunity for all students, high standards for academic achievement, responsiveness to the evolving educational landscape, holistic care for students' social, academic, and intellectual needs, and exceptional service to children, families, and the broader community. Not only does the A+ School of Excellence Award validate the hard work of our educators and students, it also serves as a powerful source of pride and confidence for our entire community. It inspires stronger parent engagement, deeper community connections, and can even contribute to a positive economic impact. Congratulations to the leadership, staff, students, and the families of Belen Soto Elementary and Verado Middle School for this well-deserved honor. Your excellence uplifts all of Litchfield Elementary School District and the communities that you all serve. We'll go storm first, and then we'll storm first, and then we'll.
What sound?
I kind of felt like the wizard there. Okay, there we go. All right. Oh, look at this now. And in 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Yay. All right, let's bring up those stains. We draw the photos up. You got it hanging up together.
I did tell them what the school colors were before the photo.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna be listening to that. There we go. All right. There we go. And then smiling in 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right. Congratulations to all of our recipient recognitions tonight. It's just another great example of all the great work that happens here at LESD 79.
Before we move on to the next thing, I just want to congratulate all the schools, Corte Sierra being a Title school. That's a really amazing thing that you guys are continuing to work and make sure that your kids are getting what they need every day. So we appreciate all the work that's happening there. And then for our A+ schools, I've been at a couple of schools that have gone through the process, and I know it's seriously a lot of work. And so kudos to you guys for taking that on and doing that. And then even above and beyond that, your schools are amazing. And that's what came out of this award and you guys being selected. So we're very proud to have all three of these schools in our district representing us. So thank you guys. Okay, so next up on the agenda is our executive session, which I will need someone to make a
I
motion.
make a motion to convene into executive session.
I'll second.
Having a motion from Ms. Moran and a second from Mr. Owens, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Moran,
Yay.
Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Mr. Mikes,
Yay.
Mr. Owens.
Yay.
I'm also a yay. Motion passes. We will be moving locations for us that are going, and we will be back when we're done. Okay, so let's move along because it's been a long night already. And we are going to convene back into regular session now. We have no public comment, correct, Ms. Kim? Okay. That's good. I'm glad we didn't make anybody wait here a long time. Next, we are going to move on to the adoption of the agenda and approval of consent agenda. I'll go through and see if anybody has anything they wish to pull. Ms. Moran,
I do not.
Ms. Wallace,
No, I do not.
Mr. Mikes,
No.
Mr. Owens.
No, I do not.
I do not either. So if someone would like to make a motion.
I move to adopt the agenda as presented. I'll second.
Having a motion for Mr. Owens and a second for Mr. Mikes, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Moran,
Yay.
Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Mr. Mikes,
Yay.
Mr. Owens.
Yay.
I'm also a yay. Motion passes. Next, we will move on to our action items. The first one is going to be the approval of construction of modular classroom portables at Palm Valley Elementary. And I believe this is going to be done by CFO Vaughn.
Madam President, members of the governing board, Superintendent Davidson, colleagues and community, thank you for joining me tonight to discuss the opportunity to expand classroom availability at Palm Valley Elementary School. During our continued planning for Palm Valley to transition into a full K-8 campus, we realized additional classroom space will be needed to support the expansion into 8th grade for the 2027-2028 school year. We've started early conversations with ESB, the company we engaged with in previous years to build modular classrooms at Verado Elementary and Belen Soto, primarily so that we could bring this item to you with appropriate pricing and things like that. This project would add 9 classrooms and associated restrooms at an estimated cost of $3.8 million. We would like to utilize the 2024 bond and capital resources to support the project. Dana Ensign, Director of Construction, and I are available to answer any questions you may have.
Ms. Moran, did you have any questions?
I do not.
Ms. Wallace, did you have any questions?
Would this be replacing all of the current portables? Would all of those be removed?
Not in this stage. Odds would be that we would come back with a second stage project after these are added to then in the future replace the existing portables. All of these would be additional classrooms on top of what's presently at Palm Valley.
And would they be located in the same area there?
Yeah, my understanding, and if there's further questions on this, I think Dan will be able to speak to it a little bit better. But my understanding is when we built Palm Valley, we built that entire area to support quite a number of modular classrooms. And we've just only ever had to build the ones that are presently there. But I believe there's already some infrastructure there to support it. And Dan, would you like to clarify if I've misspoken?
You haven't, President Zaidema, members of the governing board. We do not have the exact location yet. The intention is to put them in that location, but because we're going to be adding bathrooms and water to these, we need access to sewer, utilities, and some of that. So once we do our investigations of the site, we may relocate depending on those situations.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mikes?
Is so potentially with the relocation though, would that possibly exceed the money we're asking for here?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
So I'm sorry. So the project's not to exceed 3.8, right? Okay.
Correct.
And so if we have to, and that's including all the sewer and all the electric, and even if we're not sure if we can go in that place, it has to go somewhere else. So we're considering all of that.
Yes,
into those
we're
numbers.
considering that.
Yeah. Okay.
In that 3.8.
Mr. Owens?
I'm just going to assume that we have the bond dollars for it.
Yes.
Perfect. That's all I need.
I don't have any questions, but If there's nothing else, then if someone wants to make a motion.
I move to approve the construction of modular classroom portables at Palm Valley Elementary School as presented.
I second.
Having a motion from Ms. Moran and a second from Ms. Wallace, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Moran,
Yay.
Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Mr. Mikes,
Yay.
Mr. Owens.
Yay.
I'm also a yay. Motion passes. Good job, guys. You all got the memo. We're going to get this going fast. Okay, the next item on the agenda is approval of the master lease agreement between Litchfield Elementary School District and TEQ Lease Education Finance. This will also be by CFO Vaughn.
All right. Madam President, members of the governing board, Superintendent Davidson, colleagues and community, thank you for joining me tonight to discuss the opportunity to enter into a lease to expedite the rollout of Promethean boards in our classrooms. This lease looks a lot like the lease we entered into a couple of meetings ago to roll out new teacher devices district-wide. This lease will allow us to get a Promethean board in each classroom for next year while paying for the deployment over 3 years. The interest rate is 0%, and we anticipate this move will actually save the district money. By entering into this lease now, not only are we getting the same model in our classrooms, which will aid in district-wide training from an academic perspective, we will also be benefiting from a discount because a new model is about to come out. Our teachers that have piloted the board that we are proposing to purchase have provided positive feedback, so we do not have concerns with the model. But kind of similar to a car, when the new model is coming out, the older model becomes a little bit more affordable. I'm available to answer any questions you may have about the opportunity to implement Promethean boards district-wide through this lease.
Ms. Moran?
I don't have any questions, but I really am enjoying the fact that we are looking at things in different ways that make them more affordable and help with the business that we're in, which is educating kids. So I appreciate this work.
Ms. Wallace?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Mr. Mikes?
None for me. Thank you.
Mr. Owens?
I don't want to get too into the weeds about these boards or whatever, but like, what's the average lifespan of one?
So when we've talked to other districts that have implemented them, I believe what we've been told is like 10 to 15,
10 to 15
years.
And so even though they're coming out with a new model, we're not going to be at a disadvantage with software updates or anything like that, or?
No, I don't think so. I think they'll continue to support them, and the teachers, like I said, that have piloted this, because we have outside of the lease bought entire schools these boards. They've been very pleased with them, so I don't think we'll feel substantial pressure to upgrade earlier than that useful life either.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions, but I'm glad to see that we'll be able to have these in all our classrooms starting next year. In the schools that we have seen them in, they look really slick, and I think it'll be great for all of our teachers and all of our students to be able to have access to that. Plus, seeing some of the projectors in some of the schools we're in that don't have them yet, this will be very, very much appreciated for those classrooms.
Well, and since you mentioned projectors, I just have to give a little plug to this. So one of the reasons we initially started looking at these boards was we did want to upgrade the technology, but what we also found was that we could buy multiple of these boards for the cost of simply doing the wiring to mount a projector in the ceiling. So not only are we getting better technology, we really are saving quite a bit of resources by transitioning from ceiling mounted projectors to this better technology. So it really is an exciting opportunity and advancement.
Which goes to Ms. Moran's point of you guys thinking and trying to always figure out the best way for us to, move forward. So thank you very much. If somebody would like to make a motion.
I move to approve the master lease agreement between LESD 79 and TEQ Lease Education Finance for the Promethean boards as presented.
I'll second.
Having a motion for Ms. Moran and a second for Mr. Mikes, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Moran?
Yay.
Ms. Wallace?
Yay.
Mr. Mikes?
Yay.
Mr. Owens?
Yay.
I'm also a yay. Motion passes. We're going to move on to the next section of the agenda. We are actually going to table the Auditor General School District spending till the next meeting, and we're going to just move straight to the, sorry, Ms. Moran. We're going to move straight into the special education presentation. It'll be the next meeting.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the governing board. This evening, we have Director Tassin as well as Director Aiken, who are going to be sharing a little bit about some possibilities of special education boundary discussion. And they're going to give you a couple of different things that we're considering and that are on the table right now. Had to turn it on first. I did down. Am I going the right way? Which way's down? There we go. Which button? Down. That one? Okay. It looks, the top looks like it's the bottom. All right. All right, thank you, governing board. So this aligns to several of our pillars, our keystone sign. Okay, I can't see that very well. So this aligns to readiness, resources, and relationships. So today, the purpose of our discussion is to align the specialized programs with the student's neighborhood school as close as possible while still keeping them in their assigned specialized program per their IEP. This would help promote inclusion and access to neighborhood peers. This would simplify the transportation logistics for families and the district, reduce student times on buses, improving their comfort and daily routines. This would improve the continuity of services by reducing the transitions and long commutes and help maintain consistency. And this would also, thank you, increase operational efficiency by improving the allocation of staffing and resources and potential cost savings to our transportation department. So the outcomes of today's meeting, we would like to provide clarity and understanding of the specialized program boundary work, present proposed grid codes for potential specialized program boundaries, support ongoing efforts to improve transportation systems and services, and discuss the implementation options and timelines for the potential rollout. So how would this impact our special education families? There are about 75 families that would be affected by creating boundaries for the specialized program boundaries. The benefits would be shorter bus rides, more consistent routines, closer to their neighborhood peers, closer to home for emergencies or for pickup due to illnesses, closer to potential schools of their general education siblings. Some potential barriers could be students might already be established with their current teachers and peer groups. Families might have enrolled their general education siblings at the current assigned school that their student with IEP and a specialized program is at. The open enrollment could already be at capacity for the new assigned program if their sibling is unable to attend on the same campus. This could impact our special education campuses as well. Some potential benefits to the campuses is the families would be closer to the school. It would be easier for emergency pickups. The families, if they're closer to the school, then it could increase parent engagement. Bus routes are lessened district-wide, making bus arrival and departure times closer to their school start and end times. Some potential barriers of the campuses. Some campuses may have programs fill up more quickly and become overcrowded. Some staff may need to be shuffled across campuses initially due to students with assigned aides being moved or staffing ratios changing due to the projected enrollment. So when we did the budgeting and the staffing earlier in the year with Mr. Vaughn and Ms. Satterfield, some of that might be shifting if we change the boundaries now.
All right, I also brought along our assistant director, Ms. Shayla Kleinman, to help with this evening. So the part that we're going to cover today is how this could impact transportation. And essentially overall, it's going to impact us positively with the efficiency of routes in several areas. So in the first area, we did run some data, and based on the routes that we have right now, looking at our total miles driven daily for some of our specialized programs, and we just took a small sampling. We're looking at about 451 miles driven daily. And with this proposed change, we would be driving about 158 miles with a cost of about $9,000 overall. And I feel like that's on the low end. If we look at the cost for mileage per route, we were averaging about 16.5 miles per bus per gallon, but it's definitely going to be a lot lower than that as far as that's concerned. So when it comes to fuel, we would definitely save on that end. Timeliness, I mean, we've done a really good job of trying to streamline our routes this year and making sure that our kiddos get to school on time. But unfortunately, with that gap of 35 minutes or less between some of our tiers, it's really difficult to get from one side of the district and dropping off on one end, going and picking up on the other end and coming back to the other side of the district. And while we've really streamlined that, we still have about 4 routes, 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, that no matter what, we get them home super late, or we get them to school anywhere from about 2 to 10 minutes late. Not ideal, but it's the only thing that we can do. If you guys have traveled from the west side to the east side on Camelback or Indian School, it's rough. It's really rough. So the timeliness would be huge. And with that too, and I think, and I would, Michaela agrees, we did some data on the average minutes that our kiddos are on the bus. And right now, an average of some of our kids, we did about 27 of them in our specialized programs. They're on the bus for 72 minutes a day. One of our kiddos is up to 128 minutes a day. So that's back to school and home, but that's a lot of time on the bus. And we really want to try and shorten that. The average time that we really target is 30 minutes or less. And it would be impossible for us to do that with the way the boundaries are right now and how we're traveling our kids from one side to the other. And then again, the overall cost for us, which is important, but for us, the priority was the time on the bus and the minutes traveled in a day. Do you have any questions on that piece of it?
Ms. Moran,
No.
Ms. Wallace,
No.
Mr. Mikes,
None for me.
Mr. Owens?
No.
I don't have any questions either, but as a special ed mom that has a kid that takes the bus, I do appreciate all the work that you guys have done, because it definitely is an improvement. Although those numbers are very sad. So of how long those kids are on the bus. So I'm glad that we are coming up with options to make that be less.
Thank you. So moving forward from here, I'm going to let Paige cover this piece.
We also took 2 different opportunities for parent feedback. The first was we selected 10 random parents that would be impacted by this change. And we made personal phone calls to those parents just to get their feedback. If this was something that we were to be doing, how would they feel about it? We also sent out a survey to all of the impacted parents as well to gather their input. Here's the feedback from the randomly selected parents. Overall, most of the responses were that yes, they'd be interested. They cited some of the similar things that we noticed as well. The time on the bus is very long, and they would like those shorter commutes. Proximity in case of emergencies, family convenience. It's very difficult for our families that are needing to be home in time to receive students on the bus with the different tiers. So if they're attending from Palm Valley, but they live in the Verrado area, that could be difficult trying to navigate the pickup for all of their students attending different schools. Community and belonging, building relationships with neighborhood peers was brought up in the random sampling as well. And then just fostering those stronger ties with their local community. A few barriers that were addressed was program availability, just concerns that nearby schools might not offer the same specialized program that their child needs. Loss of connections. Our specialized program teachers and staff are fantastic, and our families love their current placement. So there were a few concerns about just losing those connections with the staff, the teachers, the administrators, and their peers. There were some perceptions of some schools being older and maybe not wanting to be on campuses that don't have access to as many of the things that our newer schools do. And then just that satisfaction with the current placement. So some families are very happy with their child's current school. They're making great growth. So just some concerns about that current placement. We have 3 approaches. I'll let Director Tassin.
So there are 3 ideas that we've looked at as a way to roll this out to families. And the first one would be that all students would attend their boundaried school starting next school year. The second approach would be more of a phased in approach for our current 4th graders going into 5th grade, and then our current 7th graders going into 8th grade. So all students would begin at their new boundaried school with the exception of those kiddos going into 5th and 8th grade, so they could remain there at their campus and finish out their time for promotion purposes. And then the third approach would be another phased in approach, beginning with just our kindergarten students and then newly enrolled students. So any of those kids coming in would then go to their boundaried school. And then families of current students may choose to remain at their current site, or they could choose to transition to their new boundaried school with the full implementation and rollout in the 26-27 school year. So from here, the recommendation for timeline and next steps is we're going to make sure that everybody has ample time to plan for next year. But before we made any decisions, we're going to make sure we review the data. So I know that we want to sit down and look at the results of the surveys that went out, contact all the affected families by phone and via email with next steps, and then obviously working on the transportation side of it, with the idea that we begin routing in May to ensure that if we are making this major change, that we have the routes efficient and ready to roll out to families. It'll probably take us the whole month of May, June to be ready by July. Questions?
Ms. Moran?
I don't have any questions, but I have some feedback on the possible approaches. Is that something that you're looking for? Okay, so I'm not a big fan of approach 1. That seems a little abrupt to just say, here you go, take it or leave it. Approach 2, I like because you are making exceptions, which we've done historically on some of our regular boundary changes we've done when we're talking actual full school boundary changes, allowing those 5th and 8th graders to continue and remain. Approach 3 to me seems like we're just kicking the can down the road an extra year. And so I would be in support of approach 2 based on these being the 3 options. I would like to see more of that feedback though, all 75 families, the survey information. I would like to see that at some point.
Yes, we can definitely get in a Friday update. Up until today, when I reviewed the survey, we had 57% yes, 43% no. But it was interesting because not all of the families that would be affected by the boundary change necessarily received transportation. So of the yeses, 75% received transportation and 25% do not. Of the 43% no, 17% of those received transportation and 83% do not. So they would be in favor of continuing at their current school and transporting. But we will definitely continue to look at that data and then we'll get that in a Friday update for you.
And so would that be an option? If they're opting out of transportation, they can go more of an open enrollment type versus boundaries?
That's one thing that we could discuss. They would have to fill out the open enrollment, and if there was capacity, then they potentially could stay.
Okay, that seems reasonable to me because it's the same as other classroom. Like if we have space, we want to have students in that classroom, but I don't know what that all entails. So
absolutely. Yes, we're looking into that. So.
Okay, thanks.
Ms. Wallace?
So does this mean that every campus is going to have the programs that they maybe don't have now?
No, the campuses would remain with their current programs. Aside from next year, we're opening up at Verado Middle School, Stride, and then we're opening up at Wigwam Creek Labs because As of right now, the only middle school that has labs is Verrado Middle School, and the only middle school that has Stride is Wigwam Creek. So we're having to transport all the way students that live in Verrado all the way to Wigwam Creek, and then vice versa if they need access to those programs. So those are going to be the only two schools that have program changes. But when we were looking at the grid codes, we sat down with a map and we mapped out, okay, if you're in these grid codes, this is the Stride program that you would go to. If you're in these grid codes, this is the labs program that you would go to. And we did that for all of our specialized programs. So if you'd like to see that, we can get that in the Friday update as well.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mikes,
Yeah, no additional questions for me. Thank you.
Mr. Owens.
Yeah, so these boundaries are different than like our traditional boundaries, right? So they're boundaried for a school. They may live right by a school, but they still don't have the program, so they're going to get okay.
Yeah.
Does the change in the new school hours, does that help alleviate some of this too? Right? Like if we were going to do like option 2 or option 3, the kind of the transition, would that also help alleviate some of the?
So we're hoping, right? So obviously the time in between is going to be helpful to getting kids to school on time. That travel between one side of the district to the other, we're still unsure, but we're definitely hoping that the added minutes in between tiers should help with that.
And hopefully by the new school year, the Indian school and Camelback construction's done, because that's a nightmare, Indian school.
Right.
And then I had, similar to board member Moran's point, just the idea of open enrollment, right? If you want to continue to take your child there and they have space, opt out of the busing service and say it's on you. And if you do want the busing service, then they have to go to their school, right? That's.
Yep. Yes, that's correct. That's how it would work. So, awesome.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure we just approved some open enrollment numbers. And in our open enrollment stuff, it says we've got no openings at any campus for our specialized programs. So that's what we have listed on our website everywhere. So a family that is considering applying for open enrollment is going to see that on our website. We don't have that. So my concern would be for these students. These are the students that have the hardest time with change and with all of these things that we're trying to do. How are we taking that into account, that they're going to have to adjust to totally new everything, and they're possibly not going to get an open enrollment because right now we're saying we can't accept any. Now maybe that's going to be different when we have the two programs open, but I can't ever remember a time that it said we had availability for open enrollments that said we could take special education, like kids on IEPs at our campus. So
we do have a few students currently on open enrollment in our specialized programs. That's a case-by-case basis that CFO Vaughn and I work on. So we can look at if we need to update those numbers to be more accurate with which campuses do have capacity and put on our website.
Can I speak to that for a second? So what's difficult is capacity changes every single day. And so when we get the board to approve open enrollment numbers, it really is a snapshot in time that then changes the next instant, because we either enroll a student or they leave, and so every time we review open enrollment, we review it fresh. And what I mean by that is we look at the numbers and we see if there's capacity. We typically do not have excess capacity in these specialized programs for out of district students, but we do look at requests from in-district students and really have a conversation with the director of special ed on every single one to really discuss with the other movement that could potentially happen. Is there capacity? Would this work out? Because we want to make sure that we're doing what really is best for that student. I hope that makes sense.
it does, but I'm just, for what it's worth, going to throw this out there for you guys to consider figuring out a way. We grandfathered whole lots of kids when we did big boundary changes recently and said, you can stay at your school if you want, even to the point that it has some of our campuses over capacity. So I would like you guys to find a way that if you want to stay at your school and you're willing to provide your transportation, we will let that happen. That's what I'd like to see for the families that want that.
May I ask a?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you've presented three scenarios, and I don't want to make you, paint you in a corner, and make you make a decision, but as the director of special education, in your opinion, right, starting a new school year after a summer off, do you think what majority or what percentage of these 75 students do you think would be able to transition to a new school? I mean, is that even answerable? Right? Like, I understand that these are the most vulnerable, like the most sensitive to changes like that. But coming off a 2.5 month summer break, that's probably would be the best time to transition them to a new campus anyway, right?
Yes, we do typically look at the longer breaks when we are looking at transitions. It just depends student to student, how they're going to transition, but it's not just campuses that we see transitions after summer breaks too. Some students might have different teachers, different peers, different classroom spaces. So there definitely will be a timeline that they'll need for transitioning before they get accustomed to their new campus and their new teacher. However, I think that once they're given time, they'll adjust. It'll be longer than if it would be a general education student, but hopefully getting them at a school closer to their house and grandfathering in, if we do approach to the 5th graders and 8th graders, that would minimize the transitions as well. So they could remain there the next year before they transition again into either middle school or high school. So we are looking at trying to minimize those transitions and make it the most effective for our students.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions? Thank you guys for this information. This is just information, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys waiting for so long to give your presentation.
Ms. Idema, may I add to this real quick?
You sure can.
I just want to tell our team up here, thank you for the work and the creative thought. I mean, we continue to look for ways to maximize our resources, but also support children. And when you look at this data, and we can include it as Paige spoke to in a Friday report, but depending upon how we go, you're shaving almost 300 miles a day on our fleet for our students. And on average, you're reducing a student's time on a bus by almost 40 minutes per child. And I just have to think for our students, as Mr. Owen spoke about, those with significant need, those that might struggle with transition or change, just the fact that they would have more time with their families and less time on a bus. That really excites me just from a parent's perspective. So I know we'll continue to look at the data, but I just want to applaud you all. Thank you for taking the time to just find ways to try to support our students and listen to our families who have also been sharing, hey, please look at this, because it is impactful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Can I add something to that as well? I am very appreciative that we as a district, and this comes, I think, from the top down, are proactively trying to look at things a different way. I think we have done so many things, and most organizations are this way, where you do things because you've always done it that way. But I am really excited that when people have new ideas or they want to look at something differently, that you all are open to hearing about that and then bringing it to us so that then we can digest that and trying to problem solve and figure out how we can make these positive changes happen, rather than saying, well, that's just how we do it. So I appreciate that. And I really am excited by so many things. It's not just this is exciting, but so much of our meetings now are changes in a positive way. And it's just really refreshing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to move on to reports so we can try to get out of here before 10 o'clock tonight. Our first report will be from Dr. Davidson.
All right. Thank you, President Zidem, members of the board. I'll stick to just a couple of comments to honor everybody's time tonight, but I'll start with, as I often say, we're in this all together. And I want to highlight the efforts of our foundation members, our LESD 79 foundation members, as we prepare for our annual golf fundraiser this coming Friday. The money raised supports staff awards and student scholarships, and it's a big endeavor. So I just want to do a public shout out to all of our people that are supporting it and also participating. And in closing, it is April, and one could say we're on the downhill side of the 24-25 school year. I just really wanted to close by encouraging our staff to not just keep up the good work, but to really consider the work it's going to take to engage our students over the next month and a half. And that I really encourage them to stay strong and get our kids to that strong finish that we want for this school year. So thank you.
Thank you. We will move on to reports from governing board members. Ms. Moran.
Yes, due to my chosen profession and its seasonal demands and deadlines, I have not attended any district events outside of our governing board meeting since the last regular governing board meeting. But I am greatly looking forward to my schedule freeing up on April 16th. And I can see the light. So I will close with lyrics from the Beatles classic, Here Comes the Sun. Sun, 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 here it comes.
Ms. Wallace.
Yeah, we are way before 10. So unless somebody's got a 20-minute report coming, I think we're good. I was able to attend the Litchfield Elementary School showcase here at this campus, which was lovely. And then just yesterday, we were able to attend the Mabel Elementary School showcase, which was also great. My nephews all go to school there, so I got some extra hugs and kisses there. So that was super, super fun for me as well. So both were great visits and great schools.
Mr. Mikes.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, I was also at the Litchfield and Mabel showcases, and once again, just exemplar on showing just some of the great people that work for this district, the great leadership, all the hard work that the teachers put into the classrooms every single day. You can see it when you walk through the classes and seeing the kids engaged, the teachers care. And once again, I've said it before, it's just something you just want to make sure you plaster all over the place for just the public in our district to know that there's just amazing things going on every second of the day. So it was just another two outstanding showcases that we had. So thank you.
Mr. Owens.
Yeah, since last meeting, I also attended the showcase here at Litchfield Elementary. Always love those. I apologize I wasn't able to attend Mabel pageants yesterday. I was a mystery reader at Verado L for a kindergarten class. That was pretty fun. And then I do want to give a quick shout out to Principal Fantasia at Verado L because a student approached her and wanted to do a fundraiser or a drive to collect clothes and toys for victims of the fire in California still. And so she said, all right, let's do it. And so they started accepting donations and then soon realized they didn't know how to get the stuff over to California or who to even take it to. So she reached out, made a contact, and then actually rented a U-Haul herself, and her husband, I think her husband drove it over all the way from here to California. So it's just a prime example of what, our administrators, our principals do. It's just way beyond classroom, right? That's way beyond running a school. They are really just pivotal in our community and supporting our students, right? This is just one little kid had an idea and she made it happen. So huge shout out to her and all the principals that go above and beyond and do those things. And I'm unfortunately going to miss the foundation golf tournament. I know it's a great event. I probably would have won it this year, but I'll have to try to get it next year.
That's why I really don't golf, because I would win. Just kidding. Okay, so this month I was able to attend the Celebration of Accomplished Teaching. I was very excited to be able to be invited to this event by the organization that handles this. This is through our National Board Certified Teachers, the program that they go through. And well, I got asked to go because Dr. Davidson and I got asked to go because our district was selected as the 2025 District of Distinction. And I didn't really know what that meant until I got there. But it was really exciting to go. I was like, yeah, you get to dress up and go to this fun event. And Dr. Davidson was still coming back from Spain, so he didn't get to join us. So I got to hang out with Miss Jennifer Benjamin and some other fun people, the principal from Mabel. So it was a great night. But when they call us districts up that are getting these awards, being recognized for the work that they do for national boards, our name wasn't on the list. And I didn't understand, but I had been told like last year when they were there and they saw this list of districts that do all this work for National Board Certified Teachers, that they were like, we need to be on that list. Well, Litchfield doesn't do anything halfway. So the reason we weren't on the list when they went through all of the schools was because we weren't like one of the many schools that has done all this work for National Board Certified Teachers. It's because we were the district of distinction. And so we got to get a special award. They played a video. It was like a whole big thing. And I was like, wow, of course, because I would expect nothing less from this district than for us to be 110% in whatever we do. But it was a very exciting night. It was super fun. Thanks for hanging out with me, Ms. Jennifer Benjamin, and everyone that was there. I also attended the Litchfield School Showcase and the Mabel School Showcase. These schools are amazing. I can't rave about our schools enough. And if anybody, again, I say this every time, but if you want to know what's happening in our schools, you just need to walk through them and your mind will be blown at the amount of work and care and the love that goes into everything that every staff member on our campus does, from the custodian that's saying hi to us while we're walking by, to the ladies in the office, to the aides that are working with the students, to the teachers everyone everywhere is all hands in and everybody cares about students. So I really appreciate us getting to see that because it's a good reminder of what we're here and what we're doing. That these kids are more than just a name and a number on a piece of paper, but they're human beings, and that the work that we do matters, and that the work that everybody in this district does at every level matters. And then just wanted to quickly talk about two important things that are this month of April. Two important things that are actually both very near and dear to my heart. It's the month of the military child. So as a mother of a Navy sailor that's currently deployed and also grew up as a Navy brat myself, this is a good time for us to recognize that while our service members definitely are making sacrifices, so are their families. And so we appreciate them and everything that they do and the time that they give up with their parents so that they can go and make sure that our country is safe. It's also Autism Acceptance Month, which is near and dear to my heart as well. And I want to give a shout out to all our Stride teachers and all our Stride pairs that work with our kids every day. The work that you do is so important. And these kids are so much better off because they get to work with the amazing staff that we have here in this district, and everybody, every level, people are working with our kids with autism, but those teachers are going above and beyond. Especially shout out to the teacher at Mabel. And I'm sorry, I didn't write her name down, but she's literally handling 2 classes right now because they lost a teacher and they couldn't find another one. So that teacher, even more, God bless you for everything that you're doing to work with 2 classes, because that is a lot. And so we super appreciate you so much. But with that, I'll end my report so we can try to get out of here. Thank you to the administrators that send in all of your reports for us. We appreciate them. Community members that are still watching this meeting, please, please, please go and read them. That's a great way to know all the things that are happening in our district. And with that, if somebody would like to make a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Cool. For having a motion from Mr. Owens and a second from Mr. Mikes, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Moran,
Yay.
Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Mr. Mikes,
Yeah.
Mr. Owens.
Yay.
I'm also a yay. Motion passes. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. You all have a great evening.